Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and you've seen this gun on the channel before. This is Scuba Steve's 11.5 Spear from Salvo Precision, and I said this was going to, I managed to source one for him. Said it was going to be with me for a bit because we're going to be pimping this up much like his SSP5. But I thought, well, while we do that and I'm stripping it down for Cerakote and whatnot, I'll just put the camera on and you guys can tune in, watch, don't watch. It's all the same to me. And yeah, hopefully you can get some kind of value out of it and we can start this project. So this is, like I say, the 11.5 inch Spear LT from Salvo Precision. He went for black because it didn't really matter on colour. I'm just trying to get this screw loosened off here. Jesus. Oh god, it's very tight. Because we're going to be stripping it down, Cerakoting it. He's going to be doing a similar theme to his SSP5, but kind of the opposite. So it's cobalt and burnt bronze. This is going to be burnt bronze and cobalt, if that makes sense. So we need to strip it down. I know he sent me a list of what he wants on each part, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty straightforward. Excuse me. So we're going to start getting this thing stripped down here. We'll start with the stock because that's easy. It's a 4mm Allen key. So we'll strip this off here. And basically I thought, well, while I'm doing this video, if you guys want to, join in, but tune in. Maybe you're stripping yours down because you want to do some maintenance or anything like that. I can show you, or you can follow along on how this thing comes apart. No really particular order to do a lot of this stuff. I am struggling with this one screw on the rail, so let's try and get that broken, but it's being a pain in the back side. I do have one of these funky tools over here. Please be a T20, I think it is. No, it's a bloody T30. I just need something with a bit more handle. And of course, every freaking tool that I want to pick up is the wrong size. So we're just going to have to try and apply a bit more torque to this thing. These Wheeler screwdrivers, which I bought from Brownells, are very good. But usually when you get to a screw like this, my old ones used to have like a hole in. So you could put another tool in and get a bit more torque. These ones, however, no such luck. So just try get, yeah, there we go. So if you do get stuck on that, you'll see I was struggling to get the grip and slip. A simple trick, especially if it's got a rubber handle, but you can't seem to get enough torque on it. Just get a microfiber cloth and it gives your hand like a bigger surface to grab. It's not always going to work for you, but there's a lot of instances where a simple thing like that can get you on your way. Now I can feel the Loctite on this screw. I can feel the resistance, so you can see the goop there. Right, we've popped those out. We're gonna have to pop the receiver. So we'll take the rear pin, we'll take the front pin, and the reason why I loosen that screw while it's together is because, if I try and do this with it stripped down, there's less weight, attached to this piece of metal here, and it will want to flip across the bench a little bit more. So let's try and push this forward here. It should just slide off. There we go. Get it started. Right, let's get this thing stripped down. So we can pull the bolt out and the charging handle. We're going to have to be careful with some of these screws because they might be thread locked. Let's get a little dinky Phillips for this. There we go. These two screws on the front here. Now, I'm pretty sure I did do a strip down video on the Virtus. I imagine this is going to be very similar as it can be. So you'll see we have these two main clamping screws, which we're going to loosen off. And once we've loosened them, sometimes they'll stick a little bit in the receiver. So you just have to keep on winding it out and they won't fall loose. So got one, And let's get the second one like that. Want that metal lock ring out as well. There we go. So 2 screws. These clamps should come off. I say should. I'm just going to give it no idea what that was. Just give it a little tap there. Not much force needed at all. Pop those off. And you remember, this one actually comes off pretty easy. You remember in the Virtus we struggled because the interference fit was quite tight. So if you've got to this point with your Salvo and you know you only have to move these 2 screws and the barrel should slide out as you just seen there. If it's for some reason stuck like it was on my Virtus, what you can do is if you hold the barrel in your left or your right hand, depends on which one's your dominant hand, and you're pulling it, you basically put a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, use a fairly big one in this slot, and just put a slight bit of sideways torque on it. So you're just twisting you only have to do it gradually. If it's really tight, you know, just be careful. And it just opens up this piece of aluminium here enough for you to pull it out. So this piece here on the receiver looks like it's sort of pinned in. So I'm not sure that's going to be an easy thing to remove. So when we're Cerakoting it, we might have to leave that in its place. I imagine what they do is these 2 lugs may be apparent on the receiver, and then they put this on and just press fit it maybe. Who knows? I am just guessing here. So that's pretty much all stripped down. We've got a couple of pins in the receiver which also might be hard to get to. In fact, we might be able to punch them out the bottom there because these pins going through. It's not like we can get a tool. We might be able to. There might be just enough room. And you just want to clear off as much hardware as possible. Now, degreasing this is going to be a bit of an arse because of the amount of grease on this thing. So what I'm going to do, let's get a pin, punch, and see if we can tap these out. We might not be able to do it this way, but we'll try. So they're going to come through and they're just about going to get stuck on the receiver. But I'm hoping it's enough for us to grab them. Yeah, there we go. So you'll see I just grabbed it from the bottom there and pulled it out. We might be able to do the other one. I didn't quite tap it out as far. Now we need to go a little bit further. Like that, so it stops. You'll see it comes out and then it slightly starts to come this way. You go in with your pliers. I mean, you're never going to have to do this. If you're stripping down for maintenance or anything like that, you don't need to do that. This is literally because I'm bare bones in it. We're going to be, you know, degreasing, blasting this thing, and then obviously painting it with Cerakote. I'm not sure if this pin is going to come out. It might come out nice and easy. What do I want? I want a pokey tool. Where did that pin punch go? There it is. So I can basically just put this in behind this bar, which will start to slide out, which holds the dust cover. And then I can just grab it, slide that out there. Like that. So I'm not going to attempt anything to do with this. We're just going to have to roll with it. We do have this plate on the side. And there's going to be some laser engraving I need to do on this before we coat it. So what we end up might actually doing is, I know I talked to him about serial numbers and stuff. So I said, have you got a serial number that matters to you? We can add that on there. Let's try and get this out. Did that just slip? These cheap screws, man. Bane of my life. There we go, we got away with that one. And then we should be able to edge this out. Just try and get something underneath it. So this plate should come out, which is why it's held in with the screws. Just trying to think of a way to do it without damaging it. Let's get a shim on there. We just want to get in between the two pieces of metal and just ever so slightly lever it up. Right, I might have to come back to that. Again, something you're not going to have to do. Let's pull out this driver because my other one's downstairs. Got some bits and pieces stuck to that. Need a 1.5, I think. I think it's this one. It might be smaller than that. What's this? 1.3? 1.3. Too small. So my first guess was correct. So yeah, it's you should be able to loosely use this guide to take yours apart. That being said, you won't have to go to the extent, but I'm going to because we are doing a full strip down for recoating. Just loosen this off by hand first. Don't want to use the motor until we know they're going to come loose. So there's one. Let's get the second one. Should be very... It was stopping there because of the torque setting I've got it on. Get this screw off. And there we go. This piece will come off here. This is actually plastic, so I won't be messing with this. We don't want to be messing about coating this at all. Weird that there's a pin there. Does that interface? It interfaces with that there, doesn't it? Keep it in place. So that just slides on the bottom there. So we'll put that to one side. Right, that's all stripped down. We're going to have to pull this little buffer sticker that you get on the MWSs. A lot of companies copy that. So that's pretty much stripped as far as we can go. I need to get this plate off, but I need to do it in a way that's safe to do so without damaging it. So maybe we need to apply a little bit of heat with something, or use a slightly sharper tool to get under it. I'm pretty sure it's a separate piece. I don't know why it would be the same piece. But can't seem to get that loose, so I'll come back to that part. So that's the upper receiver stripped, the charging handle. Again, if you wanted to go further with this, it's just two pins, which I'll probably get to. The bolts, very simple. Run you through that as well. We're going to go to a 2mm. Really easy to take these apart. 2mm Allen key. Let's bump the torque up on this. One thing you need to pay attention to these is these screws. I'm pretty sure these screws are different lengths. So you've got one there. Let's get this in here. So you see the front one is longer. So we're going to take that, put it over there, put it over there. And a good idea, if you're stripping things down like this and it's not going to be put back together straight away, getting these bags off Amazon. I buy thousands of these because look, we can take that piece, the two screws that held it on, and that is an assembly. Or if you don't want to risk screws and stuff falling off the bench, happens to the best of us. Just going to be pulling these out of my pocket now. So we've got the two screws, the pins off the receiver. We've got the dust cover, the pin and the spring. We're going to put that in there. We'll also put the mounting brackets in there and the screws for the handguard and the barrel. Those two screws are for the bolts, so what we'll do, we'll get another one because we keep them separate. Two screws in there. Take the recoil spring assembly off. It's not going to be stripped down any further than that. The bolt itself, I've done videos on this before. It's very easy. What we do, we slightly move up that piece there, and then we can move that out and forward. There's a spring underneath it, be very careful. We then pull this little plastic bracket off the back here, and we can slide our nozzle assembly out, and there you'll see the bolt is stripped. So we'll probably be coating this as well. So because we're coating it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, there's a little O-ring, bloody shim won't bugger off. So O-ring at the back here. So we'll make sure that's stripped out, and then this is going to get cleaned, degreased, and then coated. So pop that off to one side. Put these in the bolt bag, making sure we keep everything safe. To be honest, we can probably take this out because it's all self-contained. And just have the nozzle components in there. Job done. Let's see. In fact, first, let's do the main things. So the lower receiver, you'll have your grip. You just pop that off the bottom there. I believe it's a 4mm Allen key. Everything's bloody magnetic on this bench. Right, 4mm Allen key. I'm going to remove this screw at the bottom here. So I'll pull this out. There you go, you've got like a washer on there as well. Once that's pulled out, we can just lever down the grip, take out the little nut on the bottom there, and crack on with this lower. So they actually have a plate in the back here, which is kind of strange. So what we're going to do, first we're going to get the trigger box out. And the way that we do that, if I can remember, we have a Allen key or like a grub screw in there. Was it a 1.5 or was it a 1.3? I think it was a 1.3. So let's get 1.3 Allen key goes in there. Are we going to be able to get this tool in? Should be able to. Take that little grub screw out. With that grub screw removed, we can remove the right hand side fire selector. We cock the hammer, and you'll see we're just rotating this as we pull it, and we can pull the assembly out. Now, if you're doing this, a good idea, put the assembly back together, take your grub screw, and just loosely put it back in the selector. That will stop it going walkies. Right, what we got next? The mag release. I remember the mag release being a bit of a bugger on this. But let's take this out here. Just going to rotate it out like that. Once you get to a point, we can just keep spinning it. Careful with the button because it's under spring pressure. That's that released, and we need to remove this main pin here, which we tap it out left to right. So let's get, what do I do in my armourer's block? There it is. Not meant for an MCX, but it should be okay just to help punch this through. Yeah, this is for an AR. So I don't think it's gonna, I can't remember how to use this bloody block anyway. We'll get our pin punch. Doesn't take a lot of pressure at all. The good thing about these blocks are they've got holes in a lot of the parts, so they can pop through here. and they are magnetised so things don't go walkies. I'm not sure where that pin's come from, but there you have it. Once we've done that, and we need to, oh, just forgot to remove that screw in the back there. So is that a 2.5? Yes, it is. So we'll just spin this screw out here, and then that will enable us to push the complete trigger pack up like that. And again, what I'm going to do, take one I prepared earlier, and we're just going to take the trigger pack and put it in the bag, because then if anything jumps off it, any springs or anything like that, it's going to be in the bag. It's not going to go anywhere. Right. Low receiver, is that a 2.5? I can't remember if it's a 2.5 or a 3. It's a 3. If I can rotate this out now, it's going to be a bugger. There we go. So let's spin this out with a 3mm Allen key. Again, unless you're swapping it out for the Jaeger buffer, there's no real reason to do this. Like that. And you'll see that attaches to that plate, which is another screw just here. So that is also a 3mm. And we can remove this bolt, which does have a little washer on there. And then I believe this plate should pop out the back there like that. Don't know why they do it this way. Maybe because if this gets damaged, the thread gets damaged or anything, it's just a small part replacement rather than a whole receiver. The interesting thing with this is they do have QD points in here, so getting those out is going to be a bit of a nightmare. I can't remember how I got these out on something else before. So here we've got a tiny little grub screw there. So before we get ahead of ourselves, pull another one of these out, and we're just going to take all these parts, all the loose receiver parts. We'll put this screw and nut together like that. Pop that in there, pop the buffer in there, pop that screw, that bracket, mag release spring. Did I put the button in there? Yes, I did. Fire selectors, pin for the trigger box. I think this screw is going to be a 1.5, not a 1.3. See if my eyes deceive me. .5. Pull that grub screw off there. Out comes the spring. There should be a detent as well. There it is, and there's the body pin. Da, 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 da. It might look stupid, but just doing things like this can save you a whole world of hurt. Now with the front body pins, they're a little bit different. So what we have to do, we have to line it up like that, and we have to press this plunger in. So I'm going to use a little 1.5mm punch. And the best way I've found to do this is if we push this in, which is pushing down that little detent there. While we're doing that, I'm just going to rotate it, because I don't want to be putting pressure on that and just pulling this pin out. Now, what you can do then is you can completely contain this in your hand and then pull the pin out, because those detents are nice and calm. This was. They can ping across the room, which then you're in a bit of a pickle if you need a spare. So pin, stopper, spring. Racking up a nice little collection here. So that's lower receiver stripped. There are some pins here which, if I can get away with it, I'm not going to mess with. I could, to be honest with you, pop them out if I can get the pin punch in there. Things like this can be in a bit of an awkward angle and make it a little bit difficult for you. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. We can actually pop these out. Again, you're not going to need to bother about them, but it'll just doing little steps like that when you're Cerakoting is we've got 2 more here, which might be a little bit more difficult to get out, so I'm going to use some of the tool to pop those out, and then we'll pop them back in when it's coated. These QD points, I think what I'm going to have to do is heat them up and then use like a QD socket to pull them out. I believe we should be okay doing that. Let's see if they're actually not glued. You can't do this with all QD slots like that, because some of them don't. Some of them will just have a thing that doesn't lock into place. But, you know, Salvo making my job easier. I am using real QD sling swivels. So doing this with some, you know, cheaper airsoft ones might not yield the same results, but you guys really aren't going to have to worry about that. So that's pretty much good to go. The stock, if we're trimming this down, does look fairly simple. So we've of course got the screw, which is a 4mm screw, like that. That bracket comes off. Should have probably folded this beforehand. There we go. So we can place it like that. Is this a 4? It is. So we can remove the hinge like that. And then this actually has a screw in it as well. Nice that that's a screw and not a pin. Comes apart really nice and easy. So we've got our hinge parts. We've got the mounting bracket part. This is off. We've got some screws in the end here. I'm going to guess a 2.5. We are correct. All these screws are pretty much loose. I'll just check the sizings on this. Make sure they're the same size, or if they're not, note where they go. Yeah. Is this buffer pad the same? No, it's not. So it's encapsulated on one end, so it doesn't slip down. And we've got the same thing again with the QD points. Pop this QD sling swivel in, and we should be able to rotate these out. There we go. When this is put back together, these will be Loctited back in. I'm just glad that they didn't use Hercules glue on that. So another component to one side. Let's put all these stock parts in a bag like that. We'll get the misc parts from the receiver. Put these bits in if I can grab it. Right. You'll notice the only parts I'm really stripping down all the way are the parts that I'm going to be coating. So the gas block and everything I'll probably leave black to give it contrast. However, the barrel I probably want to coat. So we can actually, we might get away with leaving this in. Let's go back to a 2mm, I think this will be. Which these screws feel rounded as anything. That one's not too bad, but the front one, one screw, two, slide the barrel and hopper. So look how short that barrel is. That's how they get the power nice and low. Right, we've got what looks like a 1.5 grub in the bottom here. Pull that grub screw off. I might have to punch these pins out. Yeah. So we need the block. And we're going to need a pin punch. That one I think is going to be too small. That one's going to be better. Pins, gas blocks, you want to come off now. Yep, there we go. So we've got our barrel stripped down, ready for coating. Right, what else we've got? So we've got upper and lower receiver. Still need to get that plate out. We've got the rail system. We've got the barrel. We've got the stock. And the rest will be like the mag release, the bolt release, everything like that that will be coating. I think I did strip the trigger box down in the Virtus video, so if you want that, follow that video. This is a little bit different because I'm really pulling the whole thing apart. We've got all these misc items that I'll probably just do accent colours of. So I believe he's going burnt bronze on the major components, which will be these. And then we'll probably do barrel, controls, cobalt. We'll probably do the hinge maybe in cobalt as well, and I think that'll be it. So we'll have some black accents. So we'll have flash hider, gas block will be black. This plate, if I can get it off, I'll do that in cobalt. What was the other part I was thinking of? Oh yeah, the fake forward assist, that'll be black as well. So we'll have some black accent colours. This will, of course, will be black. The magazine's going to be grey. I need to check whether he wants this coating as well. We could do that in cobalt. So yeah, thanks for following along. Sorry it's been a long video, but I'll record it, post it. If you view it, great. If you don't, also great. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below what you want to see next on the channel. Check out the link in the description to join the Agri Precision Discord. And I was thinking about doing some stuff like this live. I think we can do it on Twitch. So if you guys think that's a good idea, and maybe it'd be like once a week, we'll just do a live stream and you can jump in with your questions. We'll do Q&As and stuff like that. I can't do it on YouTube because they won't allow it. If you want that, let me know in the comments below. But as always, from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next video.